Karen's daughter bullies other kids and I have to get suspended for it. Now this post was made by user ILikeCakeX190 who has given me permission to read this post in its entirety. A little backstory. I'm not a teacher and I graduated just last year, but I am working for a school for a year. In our school, we have a club where the students can make their own movie. I just supervise them, and they're doing a pretty good job. In the club are 10 students, all from 5th and 6th grade. Normally, I'm not allowed to supervise them without a teacher, but the teacher who is responsible for me is in the next room with his class and he can hear anything that we are doing, and sometimes comes to check if everything is okay. Last week, everyone was really into their work, except one mean girl who was always making trouble, like pushing the others, calling them names, screaming for no reason, and even tried to fight with me. Every time she had her special 10 minutes, I could control her more or less, but this time it was enough. She took the school bag of a sweet girl and threw it out the window because sweet girl didn't want her help with the music. I was shocked. I knew the principal wasn't here anymore, so I looked for the teacher next door. We discussed it and he concluded that we can't allow her to be part of the club anymore. I took the girl and went with her to another room because the rest of the club didn't want her in the room anymore. She would not give me the number of her parents, so I told her that she should call them so we can clarify the situation with Sweet Girl and her parents. I went to Sweet Girl for a second to look if everything else was okay, and after a boy brought her school bag, she was fine. I got back to the little mean girl, and that grin on her face said everything. I don't know what she told her parents, but I knew that I had a problem. Half an hour later, the mom came. We call her Karen. She was big, and when I say big, I mean big. Like imagine this. When a bull looks at you with fire in his eyes and smoke coming out of his nose, Karen looked exactly like this bull. This was also the moment when the little mean girl started to cry and ran to her mom. I looked at the mom, looked at the other kids, closed the door so the kids aren't about to get everything, told a prayer, and then went to the mom. Karen.
Where's the teacher?
Me. Hello, ma'am. My name is...
Yeah?
I supervise the kids.
No, you are lying. You're only a student. Get the teacher now.
I get your confusion, but I am no student. I am working for the school and I will discuss the problem with you.
You dumb little girl. How should I talk with you about this shit? You are maybe in like 8th grade.
I am obviously not in 8th grade. I think you shouldn't be so rude to me, and maybe you don't want to swear in front of your daughter. I hate it when someone swears in front of the little kids. I see how they get influenced by older people when they swear, and the kids will do it too. I love swearing, but just not in front of them. Karen looked shocked at her daughter, who she held by the hand. She looked at her and then at me. Her face turned bright red.
Don't tell me how to raise my child.
Well, now I got a little scared, especially because Karen got really calm.
So, you supervise them?
Yes?
And you don't want my daughter to be part of the club anymore?
Well, it isn't that I don't want it, but...
You should apologize, because it's obviously your fault. You didn't do your job. When someone would have died, it would have been your fault.
I tried to stop the little mean girl, but she wouldn't listen to me. And before I could grab the bag, it was already outside. I didn't really know what to say, but I would have loved it if we had security. Well, maybe your daughter just shouldn't throw things out the window.
My daughter can do whatever she wants.
Yeah, I see that. I think we should get someone to discuss it tomorrow. I don't think this is getting us anywhere. I wanted to turn around, but Karen grabbed me.
No, you wanted me here, so I am here. Apologize to me and my daughter.
No, why should I?
And give her the leading role.
The kids have been working on this for 8 months. We won't change anything now.
Then I will talk to the principal and I will get you suspended.
Again, I'm not a student.
You are such a liar. I don't understand why I have to work with idiots all the time. Now listen, I was a pretty good actress when I was young, and I know my daughter has talent. So let her use her talent. You have no idea. You're just a lying student and I will get you suspended.
Now I know where her daughter got all the screaming from. Enter the mom of the sweet girl. We call her Mary. Karen, long time no see.
Mary.
So, your daughter threw my daughter's school bag out of the window again. I didn't know that this had already happened some time ago, but I was really interested in what would happen next. Do you want to apologize to this young lady and we both discuss it like grown-ups? Or should I talk to your husband again? Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, your ex-husband. Karen was quiet. Have you ever seen a quiet Karen? Because I got goosebumps. Did you lose your tongue?
You have no idea what happened. This is none of your business.
Oh, really? Well, we both do have a little history, right? Do you really want me to warm this up again? Karen picked her daughter up and walked away without a word. I asked the principal about this the next day, and he told me that Mary was a friend of Karen's now ex-husband, and she was the lawyer who helped him with the divorce. The two girls get in fights pretty often because Karen tells her daughter that it was Mary's fault that they divorced and that she wasn't sure if the sweet girl wasn't the daughter of the ex-husband too. Mary got her daughter and they went to get ice cream. I did the same with the whole club the next week. The teacher who was responsible for me apologized like 100 times. He couldn't step in because he had a personal problem and had to end his class earlier. Note, Karen did try to get me suspended, but the principal knew me and knows that I'm no awful person and that I am no student. Now, first of all, as a filmmaker, I really have to say that I appreciate schools nowadays so much to allow kids to start making films at such a young age. I personally started my own filmmaking career at the age of 10, and I didn't really have much guidance. I only had YouTube tutorials, and I filmed everything on my MacBook's like webcam. I remember I put my laptop on a chair and I swung it around to get these panning maneuvers. That's because literally nobody else was into film at that time. So it's great to hear that more schools nowadays are embracing film and getting kids to start doing films at such a young age. Anyway, this post reminded me of a story that I wanted to tell as well. So my friend has this uncle who was really close to his family when he was younger. So I'm talking about when he was like 5 or 6, this uncle would constantly come over to their place and just have fun with them. Sometime later, the uncle stopped visiting because he got married to some woman. Turns out nobody in his family liked that woman. Why don't they like this woman? Because this woman, let's call her Karen for a second, because Karen wouldn't allow the uncle to see his side of the family because she says that he would be too busy with quote-unquote his family, meaning her side of the family. At some point, the uncle and Karen got pregnant. Wait, what I meant by that is at some point they had children, and when Karen gave birth to the baby, the uncle's parents were there, so like my friend's grandparents. And when the grandparents tried to carry the baby, Karen said no because the grandparents had germs. That said, Karen's parents could carry the baby. And so basically, after this uncle married Karen, the uncle has not been in contact with my friend's family ever since. Fast forward a few years, I'm asking my friend if he wants to join me in Minecraft. He sends me, no, unfortunately, my uncle had a stroke today. I go, oh, damn, is he okay? Turns out the uncle is alive, but half of his body is paralyzed. I asked my friend how and when this happened, and my friend replied with, it happened a few weeks ago and we only got word of it because the hospital had to contact us. His uncle also got fired from his job as a lawyer and none of his friends knew about it. Why? Because the only way he could get into contact with his friends was with permission from Karen. Now, because he had a stroke, Karen didn't tell anybody because, quote unquote, how could I be seen with someone like that? My friend had to literally take road trips up to a different state twice every single week for the next year, just to take care of his uncle because the wife wouldn't. Surely enough, she divorced him because he was handicapped and couldn't make any more money. Now, that could have been the end of the story had they not have children, because one time when my friend reported they went up to his uncle, he ran into Karen with the kids. Now, not only did Karen tell my friend that he should stop coming up because, quote unquote, the uncle doesn't need him, but also she said to the kids in front of the uncle, she said, look at dad. Look how useless he is. Never be as useless as dad. So I think the moral of the story here is never make life choices so soon. By the way, the uncle had a stroke when he was like 40 something, I believe. That's very young to have a stroke, like 40 something. I feel like in that story, we really have to respect my friend's decision to take care of his uncle by driving to a different state twice a week for an entire year, even though he hasn't seen that uncle in years. I feel like the divorce was probably a good thing in the long run, and I feel like the real losers here have to be the kids. I mean, these kids didn't ask to be born into the world, but they were just born into the world. Their father had a stroke, and they have Karen as a mom. Like, it really makes you wonder how they'll be when they grow up. You know, like, as much as I hate brats and entitled kids, I feel like we really should pity them because ultimately it's their parents that are teaching them these type of behaviors, right? Like, they didn't ask for it. Every single time I see like an entitled parent teaching their kids bad behavior, like, it's just, I wish there was something you could do. And and let's not forget that Karen, who had all the money from the uncle, refused to pay the hospital bill and put that duty on my friend instead. Yeah, that's right. Karen refused to use the uncle's own money to pay for the uncle's own hospital stay. And it's not even asking her to take her own money out. No, it's the uncle's money. Refused to do all of that and made my friend, a student, pay for someone else's hospital fee. And we're not even just talking like a few weeks in the hospital. We're talking years in the hospital, plus rehab, plus medication, plus specific staff to help with stroke patients. And Karen still has the audacity to tell my friend that the uncle doesn't need him. Like, some part of me is wondering if this is some big conspiracy murder plot where Karen is trying to kill her own husband so she could run off with someone else. Like, I mean, just take a look at this whole thing. Uncle has a stroke at home. Nobody else knows about it except Karen. When the hospital inevitably dials my friend because Karen wasn't showing up, it's already been 1 week. Karen tells my friend that the uncle doesn't need him and then refuses to pay any of the hospital bills. She divorces him and then teaches the kids to hate their own father and then is never seen again. Like, doesn't that sound fishy? Just a tad bit fishy. Like, maybe even so fishy it'd ruin a sushi. That type of fishy. No amount of wasabi is enough to save that one. Hey, if you liked this video, make sure you leave a like rating, and if you really liked it, make sure you share this video. We're trying to reach 4,000 subscribers by July, and you can really help us by sharing these videos. If you want to hear more Reddit stories, check the playlist here. And if you want to hear more of my stories, tune into my live streams every Thursday and Saturday. We chill and play Minecraft as well. Cheers!